Okay. That's enough of the emotional mess. Thank you, Amy Lynn and the Honey Man, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Please gaze upon the Larrys that we are so lucky to see. I want to show Larry off. I would love to hear what you had for dinner tonight. If you didn't like what you had for dinner, let me know what you wish you had for dinner. I am reading the chat. I am happy to see everybody. We do need a vampire beaver that refuses to eat garlic. Yes, we do. Tonight we have a few different things on the agenda. The first is a juvenile court case from Lenawee County. And please, oh, thank you, Brian and Kim, for reminding me, guys. If you're new here, can you go ahead and hit that like button or the dislike button? That's how we take attendance around here. So if you can do that for us, that would be great. My sister did get home. She thanked me for keeping her home so clean and taking care of Bluebell, and then she asked me to leave. So I did. Okay, Rita is having a glass of milk and roll of Oreos. That lady is still on her staycation. We know that. Um, Tupac, I love it. Let's see. No garlic in the snack pack. Rachel, I hope everything is going well. Barbecue pork chops and fried potatoes with onion, Brian and Kim. Yummy. That sounds delicious to me. Um, I am having, oh, it's almost empty. That's sad. That's a sad time when my coffee is almost empty. Mm. Okay, well, we'll have to figure that out. Let's get working with the court, anyways. Sashina, you've been lurking for some time. Had a Subway sandwich. You broke a tooth. Oh, you had oh my gosh. Okay. Today has been very difficult for you. Thanks for coming out of the woodwork, and I'm sorry all that happened, but you'll make it through. I know you will. Um, oh, that sounds nice, Rachel. A sloppy, cheesy Checkers burger. We don't have Checkers here. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
thank you, Laura. Oh my gosh. Wow, that was quick. I like that. That was really great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. So much love in this room. Um, let's get to this is a legitimate. Did you see my face when I picked this up? I was like, no, no, it can't be. I remember it being so full and so warm. Okay, let's beef and broccoli from CRD. Okay, guys, let's get going with our show for this evening to begin with. And as usual, I'm going to pop off the screen. I'll take the Larrys off for right now, just so that we can get it rolling smooth. Once we have everything going, I drop back in. And like I said today, this is a juvenile case. Hold on. I'm not ready yet. Why is that not working properly? There we go. There we go. Okay. And I may need to use some beaver blocking, if you will. If there are children, if you're new here, if there are children involved in court cases, for the most part, I try and block them out with Larry Beaver. Either Kimmy Beaver over here, or we've got the referee Beaver, or just business Beaver Larry right here. Just for them. Just for them. So if you see him on the screen, that usually means it's something that either I don't think is something I want to broadcast on my channel, or it's something that YouTube Daddy would be mad at me for broadcasting. And we all know that me and YouTube Daddy are still working ourselves out. So let us get going with this case. It was full of lots of interesting things. Like I said, again, it's in Lenawee County. I believe that's in Michigan, but somebody can very much correct me if I'm wrong on that. I am Canadian, so I don't know. Let's go.
All right, we are on record for review and a hearing on a termination petition. Can I have the names of our participants, please?
Lee Heights, lawyer, guardian ad litem. Nastasia Thomas, counsel for the department.
Stephanie Hamlin, Department of Health and Human Services, foster care.
Suzanne Wilhelm, attorney for Dakota Hamlin, father.
Dakota Hamlin, father.
Thank you. Our Zoom participants.
Good morning, Ariel Berger here on behalf of Mother Caitlin Estes.
Caitlin Estes, mother of the children.
Thank you. Right. Any preliminaries before we get into the request for termination and review?
Your Honor, I want to be very forthcoming on this. The original petition for termination was filed March 21st, and for some reason we didn't receive a stamped copy back from the court with the summons for quite some time, and then I wanted to amend the petition. So by the time we all got it figured out, the summons came out, I want to say, with 13 days to spare between that time to today. So I just want to bring that to the court's attention that while it was served, it wasn't timely per our court rules. So I just want to make that known.
So how do you want to proceed?
If counsel is unwilling to waive the notice defect, I would just ask that it be heard at our next hearing. And given the time today, the length of the court report, I assume we're going to need a continuation for this review and privacy planning hearing regardless. So if there's an unwillingness to waive that defect, then I would just ask that it be set and notice be given for the next hearing date.
All right, counselors.
Yes, Your Honor, then we're not willing to waive the defect. We would like to have service as it should happen according to the court rules. Thank you.
Okay, your position, Ms. Berger?
We are in agreement with Ms. Wilhelm, Your Honor. We're not willing to waive, and we would request that the trial part be adjourned.
Ms. Heiss.
Your Honor, I unless there can be an accelerated review, I do not join in the parents in demanding that that notice be met, and I would add that actual notice has been met. They are on actual notice with plenty enough time to prepare. So I'm requesting an accelerated review as part of that delay.
All right, so we'll look for some time for that. I do think that it's important to obviously abide by the court rules, so we'll find a different date. Let's tackle that now. Tell me, are you available June 13th at 1:30?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I have one more. Okay, I can give you the entire afternoon on that date.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I was muted. I'm not available that day.
Oh.
Okay.
Thanks, Ariel.
Are you available in the morning by any chance?
I'm not, sorry.
Okay, how about the afternoon of the 20th?
Your Honor, do we have, well, we have a status conference that day in Warner.
Oh, right, you're right, I'm sorry. Okay, so how about the 14th at 9?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Judge, I can't do Wednesdays.
I told you guys, and I'll tell you again, judges schedule more than they do decision making.
I have. Okay. How about July 17th at 1:30? Afternoon of July 17th.
I'm okay that day.
I'm available.
Yeah, that works.
Okay, July 17th at 1:30. So that will be our next date and time for review, as well as hearing on the petition. So has the petition actually been served?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't, unless I haven't seen that all the way through there.
I believe Ms. Estes signed summons as part of the packet I had submitted last week, and I'm waiting for the CPS worker to provide Mr. Hamlin's signed summons to me. But he was served, I believe, last Tuesday.
Ms. Wilhelm, would you like to confirm that?
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Hamlin was served last Tuesday.
And Ms. Berger, could you confirm for us whether or not your client has in fact received her copy of the petition requesting termination of parental rights?
I would have to ask her, Your Honor.
Okay. Deputy, would you swear in Ms. Estes for us, please?
Please raise your right hand, Ms. Estes. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Berger, if you'd like to leave the voir dire on that issue, please.
Thank you. Ms. Estes, were you served a copy of the termination petition
Yes.
and you had a chance to review it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. All right. So we'll have our next, again, review parenting planning hearing and the hearing on the petition, July 17th at 1:30, and I have the whole afternoon reserved for that purpose.
Your Honor, did we want to do any review today or no?
I was under the impression we were going to do a review. Are you suggesting that we forsake that for the 17th of July?
I'm not. No, I just wanted to make sure that we were able to.
Yes. That's the plan. Okay. Ms. Heiss?
Thank you, Your Honor. I was able to visit with all 4 children in person. There is another child who's placed with her father in Jackson I did not see this time. These children are all in family placement. Their needs are being met in these placements. The visits for the parents were suspended after recommendation from Brene Moore in the court granting the suspension of visits, and virtual visits were continued. We have had lots of family team meetings where all of us have been there, and I feel that there's adequate support for the parents to perform this case service plan. I'm there, I get it, it happens. I've included now in the email trail to the parents, and even I'm responding when did dad respond to this email and getting a no. I mean, so overall what I'm saying is that I think that the reasonable efforts are no longer needed in this case. I wonder even if they are creating a barrier. We are spending so much time, debating what time and when dad is going to do a virtual visit. And we had it all down, and I was so clear. The 18th, I think, of last month or something I had it on my schedule because I wanted to watch him succeed, and I wanted to note that we all talked about it. Then the dates got switched, so it didn't even happen. So it's really frustrating. I don't know that any reasonable efforts are going to support this family in benefiting from services. Are these capable human beings, this mother and this father? They are, but in the amount of time it's going to take them to even start to comply, let alone benefit from services, I think that I would like a period between now and then to see what they can do without the agency to blame in their mind. I'd like to see if they ever wrote their child a card, if they ever sent a pack of diapers, if they ever show up to virtual visits. It's only 15 minutes. Because there are 4 little active children, and that keeps them in touch with mom and dad. But when they do it, and the kids look forward to it, and they like to do it. But it's a lot of work for the placement who is a relative. So, and at this point, the court report shows that there is no controversy in that placement. There's no, it's not a vulnerable placement at this time. Anything could happen, and in the event that there's a termination in this case, there is no guarantee that that's the adoptive home, but today what I'm telling you is that the placement is meeting all of the children's needs and that it's in their best interest to stay in this placement. And I'm really rooting for it to be their permanent placement in the event that the parents can't comply with their case service plan and benefit between now and that next date that we have in July. Lots of needs. There are 4 children, maybe even 4 and under, or close to that. They're growing, they're healthy, they're all meeting developmental milestones. 1 minute, one's in a walker, the next minute that one's running and climbing. And there were some shoes on, I think H that Mama had provided at one point, and that was nice to see. And she was really proud of her little shoes. And boy, it's just a big work in progress. Their needs are being met. I would like to see if the, okay, so the other thing is that, I think that concludes my comments at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Witness testimony today, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you, Your Honor. If Ms. Hamlin, can you please do swear in?
Hamlin, come on up to our witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Right, Ms. Hamlin. I just want to review that the court, along with our attorneys, have all of the attachments that you included for today's hearing. In your cover sheet, you indicate it, including the court report, though, 27 attachments, in addition to then, which consists of about 177 pages, in addition to your social work contact logs, which is an additional 129 pages. Does that seem accurate to you?
Yes.
And to the best of your knowledge, are there any updates or modifications that need to be made in any of those documents or your report?
Not at this time.
Since you provided this report to the court and the parties, have there been any updates or changes to the status of like the case service plan or the parents' participation?
No. Respondent father hasn't provided proof of any services that he's completing. He has requested that we refer him for a substance abuse evaluation through Dr. Hogan of Battle Creek Counseling Associates, which I'm working on that referral as because he did not want to agree to follow the treatment plan of a substance abuse assessment through CMH. He is unable to go through any of the local providers where CMH or his insurance could cover the cost of that. And he did not want to pay out of pocket for any of the local providers. So we are trying to work on the referral to Dr. Hogan. I'm not sure when his availability is, as he only goes to Hillsdale DHS once or twice a month. And Ms. Estes is still on the waiting list for individual counseling.
And that's, I'm going to stop that question there. During this review period, has there been any substantial progress that would make you reconsider the goal of adoption for these children?
No.
And to clarify, the oldest child who is living with a non-respondent parent, that child's goal is reunification with a fit and able parent, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then adoption for the 4 youngest that are the common children of these 2 respondent parents?
Yes.
And at this point in time, would you be asking for any reconsideration of the goal change or a goal change?
No, I would continue the goal of adoption.
And during this review period, what has the parents' level of compliance and benefit from the case service been generally?
non-compliant with poor benefit.
As it relates to some of the basic needs that the children have and the parents, setting those goals, so employment and income, transportation, housing. Do the parents have any stability in those areas at this time?
Ms. Estes is residing with her father in Jackson. While the home is appropriate, due to ongoing CPS cases, it's unclear if the home would be suitable for reunification, as Ms. Estes's, as other occupants in the home have ongoing CPS matters. It's unclear if returning the children to that home would be safe for them at this time. Mr. Hamlin has not provided any rent receipts or any documentation that he is in compliance with his lease. Neither one of them have their own transportation, though Ms. Estes has been better about attending medical appointments. The past few weeks that she's resided in Jackson, her family is helping with transportation for that matter. Mr. Hamlin did make it to one medical appointment recently. Neither have provided proof of employment. Neither have provided really any documentation other than what's already been submitted in the court report.
And have, to the best of your knowledge, have either parents provided any material needs for the children?
No.
And at this time, some of the conditions that cause this failure to come into care were also concerns about domestic violence. Has there any progress made in that area?
No. Law enforcement was out to the home several times during this reporting period. There was a domestic violence incident in which Ms. Estes was the aggressor, and she is working with the prosecutor's office to complete a diversion program in lieu of being formally charged. Should she not complete the program, they will move forward with domestic violence charges.
When you say that law enforcement was out at the home, can you just clarify what home you're referring to?
That was when both Ms. Estes and Mr. Hamlin were residing in the Adrian apartment on Clinton Street. Ms. Estes has since relocated to Jackson.
And you have 2 police reports in your court report, and are those the 2 incidents that are also summarized in your court report?
Yes.
And in one, was Mr. Hamlin an aggressor?
It's unclear from the police report if he was an aggressor. If he was, it wasn't towards Ms. Estes. There was, law enforcement was called as Mr. Hamlin's other children's mother was trying to pick the children up from the home. He was not relinquishing the children. There was some sort of aggression or fear of aggression between Mr. Hamlin and his other children's mother's father, I believe, who was with her. So law enforcement was contacted.
And what services have been offered to both parents as relates to domestic violence?
Individual counseling, where domestic violence is a component of that counseling, has been offered quite extensively since October. I have provided a list of providers to Mr. Hamlin for domestic violence services that are local to Adrian. If this new case service plan is adopted by the court, I will find domestic violence provider local to Jackson. Ms. Estes has not been, I have not asked Ms. Estes to complete it. domestic violence counseling outside of her individual or conjoint therapy with Mr. Hamlin until this case service plan.
And previous individual counseling, or at least during this review period, do you have any records from a mental health professional that relational issues or domestic violence is being addressed in counseling?
No.
As it relates to substance abuse, that was also one of the conditions that caused this family to come under this court's jurisdiction. What services during this review period have been offered to, I guess, address that concern?
My supervisor participated in a joint call with Mr. Hamlin and CMH to try to assist him in completing a substance abuse assessment so that he would be eligible for local services. However, because he refused to agree to follow the treatment plan, CMH was unable to provide the assessment. He was provided with a list of providers local to Adrian that he would have to pay out of pocket for. He requested to go through Dr. Hogan, who I'm working on a referral for. That's the psychologist that goes to Hillsdale DHS once a month. It has been listed in his individual counseling that he has a substance abuse concern. Ms. Estes has listed in her individual counseling that substance abuse is a concern. She is on a waiting list at the moment, but neither have really demonstrated any sort of progress. The most recent domestic violence incident did involve alcohol. Both of them flew positive when they were given a breathalyzer by law enforcement. Ms. Estes has continued to test positive for marijuana, and Mr. Hamlin is not completing all of his offered drug screens. He did refuse to complete a drug screen for CPS during this review period, and he is very hit or miss on his attendance at LDC.
I know that you were not the case manager at this point in time, but are you aware if Mr. Hamlin participated in psychological evaluation with Dr. Hogan?
Yes, he did in May, I believe.
And to the best of your knowledge, did that psychological include any substance abuse component?
I believe it mentioned it in the recommendations that he address his substance abuse in relation to parenting and individual therapy. It did not outright specify a substance abuse assessment. I do have the report if you need me to refer to it.
No, that's okay. It's already part of our record. I was just wondering if it had already been done and he was asking for it to be redone, or if it wasn't done, or is sufficient as a true substance abuse assessment. During this review period, there have been some changes to the way you communicate with Mr. Hamlin. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And can you please just summarize for the court, so we don't have to read through everything right now, why that happened?
Mr. Hamlin is not appropriate in his communication with me via text message or phone calls. And so I was instructed by supervision to move forward with email communication with Mr. Hamlin. He felt during a family team meeting held in mid-April, he felt that our communication had become stagnant. Mr. Hamlin felt that our communication had become stagnant. So between that and then his inappropriate language being used, I am communicating with him via email at this time, where all of the legal counsel can be CC'd on that communication.
And you in fact did provide an email notice to him to that effect, correct?
Yes,
And all counsel was in fact CC.
yes.
And has he replied to any of those emails?
A couple of them, he had replied directly to me asking further questions. And when I would respond back to him, I would again CC all of the legal counsel.
As it relates to parenting time during this review period, is it fair to say that there's a difference between how parenting time is offered to Ms. Estes versus Mr. Hamblin?
Both of them were offered in-person visits and both were offered video visits. Mr. Hamlin chose not to participate in his in-person visits, whereas Ms. Estes did mostly participate in them. For video visits, Mr. Hamlin's participation is more at like a 50-50. Ms. Estes has been, again, has participated more than he has.
And is there any requirement to confirm parenting time for either in-person or video?
They have to confirm by 12 p.m.
Okay, I was just saying I went like this because I read that Kate has never heard of that place, Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons, the Canada runs on Tim Hortons. Okay. This was me starting over. This is the whole beginning. And it sort of hurts me a little bit inside that you haven't heard about it. It's better than Starbucks. Anyways. This case is sad. Let's just do a little messaging. Let's just do a little bit. Oh, thank you, Donna. Let's just do a little bit of a recap here. So the lady right here is the mom in this case. This is a lawyer. And then the judge is on top of the mom. And then the dad is actually in the courtroom at that table there. As well as, I believe, CPS, their lawyer, is at the table in the courtroom as well. You never heard of Tim Hortons either? Are you guys kidding me? You guys are kidding me. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. No, I've heard of Buc-ee's though, and I live in Canada. Okay? I guess it's ubiquitous in Canada to the point of, like, if you wanted, okay, here's a great example. If you wanted to say, do you want to get a coffee? You could say, do you want to go to Tim's? And the implicit understanding is that you're going to get coffee. You can go to Tim's. Did you want me to get you something from Timmy's? Do you, Timmy Hose, that's what we call it quite a bit. Like, it's just, they sponsor a lot of children's sporting events. And so it's very like standard. You absolutely can order coffee beans. In Michigan, they have Tim Hortons. I know there are Tim Hortons in the United States, but, your cousin owns a few. Thanks, son. But Timmy Hose is great. For me, anyways, it is my favorite type of coffee. You can definitely order the whole beans. You can order them ground or not. But also, I don't like the dark roast, but they have a dark roast as well. And their whole, like, the reason that they're very popular in Canada is they have a rule that every pot of coffee, like, they write on it with a little white pen. It's very, very strict. Everyone knows this. So, like, the black pen you get written on the lid, you can't really see it, but it tells you what is in your coffee, how many creams, how many sugars. And then, but on every carafe of coffee, they write down the time that it was brewed, and then they just throw it away every 20 minutes. So the coffee is always fresh within 20 minutes. And most of them here used to be a lot of them open 24 hours. So when you are on a road trip, or you're going to an early morning hockey practice, or you're going to anything, Tim Hortons is the natural precursor and post-event place to go. You earn points. I have an app. You earn points, and it's not expensive though. It's cheaper coffee than like this extra large coffee cost me $2.50 Canadian, which is like $2, less than $2 for Americans. And this is our biggest size, yes. It probably looks small, but it's actually large. Anyways, they have iced coffees. They also have something called an iced cap, which is an iced cappuccino that's like slushy. Those are very popular. And they have donuts, all the good stuff. Oh, and the donut holes are called Timbits. Timbits. Yeah. Anyways, I run on Timmy's, and iced coffee in the summer and spring. I like some iced coffee, but anyways, okay. I am getting distracted. Let's continue on with what's going on here. I just wanted to say that because it's dear to my heart. Do they have horrible hash browns though? No, they have decent hash browns. Decent hash browns.
I don't believe Ms. Estes was being held to the confirm for in-person visits, as her attendance was rarely in question. When we switched to video visits, I did send out an email to both respondent parents and all legal counsel that they had to confirm with me by 12 p.m. the day of each visit.
And you've included Ms. Moore's recommendations about parenting time. Is it and through counsel, you also put in a request to suspend all parenting time, correct?
Yes.
Do you have a recommendation as to parenting time today, whether that should be solely virtual or no parenting time at all, or back to in person? What is your recommendation?
Frankly, the only child that appears to be benefiting or actively participating in the video visits is Brooklyn. That's because she does already have an established bond with both parents. The younger children, it's very difficult to really even get them to focus on the computer screen or the phone. It's unclear to see if they are really benefiting from the video visits, or if it's just further causing disruption and acting out. I do not believe in-person visits are appropriate at this time for younger children, as there are significant safety concerns when there is parental participation. There's safety concerns from both parents. Ms. Estes is more physical and emotional safety concerns, whereas Mr. Hamblin's is really his lack of participation and involvement with the children. And because the children do tend to have behaviors, especially Brooklyn and Abby, I don't think in-person visits are appropriate at this time. I don't really think the video visits are appropriate either for any of the younger children, but Brooklyn's the only one that gets anything out of it, and it does cause behaviors afterwards. It's very They're very chaotic. You can see them become extremely hyper. They're getting very wound up for these short video visits, and then it causes more stress on the caregivers afterwards. And even just during the 30-minute chunk of time for both parents, I'm exhausted and I'm not physically in the home for all of them. I don't think it's a good idea for them to continue having visits.
And as it relates to this current placement, or I'm sorry, back to parenting time for the oldest child, how is parenting time handled for that child, Ms. Estes?
That is handled directly between Ms. Estes and Mr. Duran, the non-respondent parent that Jade is placed with. They kind of just worked out when Ms. Estes would see Jade. It is a lot more frequent now that she is living in Jackson. They're really maybe 3 blocks apart. We do have a safety plan in place that Ms. Estes' father is not to be around Jade, and the visits are not to occur in Ms. Estes' home as she does reside with her father. Mr. Duran has been in charge of determining who would supervise the visits. Prior to the safety plan, it was Ms. Estes' father. With the safety plan, Mr. Duran indicated it will probably be himself or another babysitter, and that they would do visits in his home or out in the community, such as McDonald's or the park.
Do you have any concerns about that parenting time continuing for that child?
I don't have the same safety concerns as Jade is a little bit older. She's not climbing on tables or running in the street. When it's Ms. Estes and Jade, there's not other children around for one of the children to be played with a little more than the other children. I don't have the same level of concern with that, so long as they do continue to be supervised, and Mr. Duran has agreed with that as well.
In your report, I believe you mentioned assisting Mr. Duran in filing custody in Jackson County? Or
Yes.
getting that paperwork ready?
Yes.
Do you have an update on that?
We completed all of the paperwork through Michigan Legal Help website during my March home visit. I provided 3 sets of copies to him during my April home visit of that paperwork, about 33 pages, I think. He did take it to the Jackson County front of the courthouse, and they handed him a piece of paper with a list of documents that they wanted. When I did my home visit yesterday, we pulled out the Jackson County requested documents. We updated Ms. Estes' address on the forms, and he was going to be submitting them Thursday or Friday of this week.
As it relates to the children's well-being, there seems to be a lot of doctor's appointments for the 4 younger ones. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And your report indicates that the parents have minimal participation in those medical appointments?
Yes. Mr. Hamblin and Ms. Estes participated in Brooklyn's dental appointment, I want to say March 6th. There have been about 10 medical appointments during this review period. Mr. Hamblin has attended I think there's been 11. As we had one after I submitted the report, but before today. So Mr. Hamblin has attended 2 out of 11 appointments. Ms. Estes has attended, I believe, 3 out of 11 appointments. And it's only been since the termination petition was provided.
Are there any other services that the department can offer these parents to help remedy the barriers to reunification?
Not that I'm aware of. The department can't provide employment. We can't facilitate housing for forever. We can't force the parents to attend counseling. I mean, I can provide resources, I can provide referrals, but if the parents don't want to do it, the kids have been in care for about 21 months now, I believe, and we're still facing the same barriers.
Is there anything that you would really like the court to note from your report or the attachments?
I don't think anything specifically.
Thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions of this witness at this time. I would move to admit the court report with the attachments. And if the court would still like the social work contact logs, for that to be admitted as well.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like the social contact logs admitted and no objection to any of the materials to be admitted. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Berger?
No objection. Thank you.
I'm sorry, it cut out just a little early.
I think my voice cut out, Your Honor. I have no objection. Thank you.
Ms. Heiss?
I have received and reviewed those exhibits. For my purpose, the social work contact logs seem redundant to me, but the court report, I think, covers the same thing. So on that, I would just as soon have the social work contact logs as we needed. I don't think they add, so that's my contribution.
All right, well, I'm gonna receive those in addition to the exhibits, even though they are perhaps a bit redundant, which is good, I think, in some ways. Ms. Hamlin, thank you for your thoroughness. Thank you. All right, questions for this witness, Ms. Berger?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hamlin, I normally can see you, but for some reason I can't quite see you today, but
Oh, that's my fault. I'll get that arranged for you. Here you are.
perfect. Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Hamlin, can you, you stated that there are some concerns regarding Ms. Estes's in-person parenting time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you expound upon that, please?
There are numerous physical and emotional well-being safety concerns. Ms. Estes has a very difficult time getting the children in and out of the vehicle without the children running through the parking lot. On numerous occasions, more counseling staff has had to chase after the children, or the relative caregiver is chasing after the children. Ms. Estes usually does not do the chasing after the children. The children wander throughout the building. They try to leave the room that they're in. They are climbing on tables. Ms. Estes is not providing discipline or redirection, and is very heavily reliant upon the supervisor of the visits to maintain the children's physical safety. We attempted community visits. We attempted 2 of them and then returned back to the office as the community visits caused even further safety concerns. There is a lot of concern that Ms. Estes shows favoritism towards Brooklyn. and negatively affects Abigail's mental and emotional well-being. Her division of time between the two children is not even. Ms. Estes was offered 3 individual visits with Abby during this reporting period to try to improve that bond. And she only attended one of them.
Were those in person or were those virtual?
Those were in person. The first visit, she canceled the, I believe, morning of, as she had thought she was visiting individually with Brooklyn. And when she was told, no, it was Abby, she canceled the visit. The second visit she confirmed and then was a no-show at the office when Abby arrived, which is greatly upsetting to young children. And then she did attend the third visit.
Okay. And do you have an opinion on if anyone would be able to, I guess, control that amount of children?
I think it can be done.
That's a dumb question. I'm sorry. That's stupid. I don't really care if anyone can do it. Can she do it? Can another person with those 4 kids do it? If anybody can do it, then I'm really confused. Again, guys, maybe I sound hard on people, but I was a young mom. Okay, I had my daughter when I was 20 years old, and she's 14 now. And it was a lot of work, absolutely. A lot of work. However, it was doable. And ran a mommy group with people that had more than 4 kids. So again, it's not impossible. And I worry about, the amount of help that's been given to this family to help them as opposed to just try and take away their kids. However, it is also something that I feel for the kids for because it doesn't sound like they have a lot of stability. However, CPS doesn't help with that either. So, yeah, there's definitely some issues here, but again, the amount of money and energy and resources spent on not helping them versus helping them in a different way than we normally do, it's difficult. Um, I'm 35 now, so I don't think I'll be having any more kids, but I'll eat those words if I need to. Um, Also remember to clock in for your shift, please, guys. Down below, hit that like or dislike button. That's how we take attendance around here. And Jacqueline, you're hilarious. She said, I had 3, but I never had a problem. But the shackles I used were very helpful. Ah.
It requires having a strong parent-child bond with the children, but it also requires a significant amount of parenting skills, the ability to multitask, the ability to maintain structure and organization. Without those abilities or that level of a relationship with the children, it is complete chaos.
And since leaving her relationship with Mr. Hamblin, have you noticed any changes in her?
Ms. Estes has attempted to re-engage with services in the Jackson area. She has followed through on completing an intake for individual counseling, though the actual counseling hasn't started yet. She has attended most of the video visits offered. She has looked for employment, though she hasn't obtained any yet. She is maintaining more communication with me and has sent letters to the children through me. She's demonstrated improvement, but it's only been the past few weeks, and I don't know if it will continue. Her pattern shows that it will not continue. I'm hopeful that she can maintain her distance from him and really make a fresh start for herself, but it's unclear if that's going to be possible.
To the best of your knowledge, has Miss Estes ever attempted to have a break from Mr. Hamblin or to plan separately from him?
There was a no contact order for a chunk of time in, I believe, November and December, in which Ms. Estes stated that she was separated from him, and that she was no longer living with him, and that was later reported to be false, that they were living together. Since coming on the case in October, I think this is the furthest she's been separated from him. But looking back over the case history, it's very unclear if she'll maintain that separation.
Okay. And has she completed any requested drug screens?
She has completed all of the drug screens that I've provided in person. We are working to get her set up with forensic fluids random screens in the Jackson area. But when I've done home visits or met with her in person at medical appointments, she has completed drug screens for me.
Okay. And is there any step that Miss Estes can take to, in your eyes, regain her in-person visits?
She could arrange to meet with staff of more counseling services and really listen when they voice their concerns about her in-person visits and try to determine what steps she could do differently, and really partner with them, possibly through a parent coaching session more than just supervising a visit, to determine if she can maintain the children's safety during visits.
And would you recommend that that be with someone like Brene Moore or someone like a therapist?
I would recommend someone like Brene Moore, who can provide therapeutic visitation with additional staffing in the room to assist in maintaining the children's safety until Ms. Estes is able to demonstrate that she can do that herself. There's just a lot of concern that is in regards to the children's physical and emotional well-being during her visits.
So should Miss Estes reach out to Miss Moore's office, or should she begin that with her own counselor?
I think it would be wise to reach out to Ms. Moore's office, and then once she does actually start counseling, she could sign a release of information and they would be able to communicate together to really try to bring Ms. Estes the most beneficial services to improve her skills.
Okay. I don't have any other questions at this time. Thank you.
Questions, Ms. Wilhelm?
Yes, a few questions. So, Ms. Hamlin, first I would like to talk about, if you're aware of Mr. Hamlin's new position that he has started.
He's not informed me of anything.
And I also would like to ask if you are, to your knowledge, is Mr. Hamlin still living at the Clinton address?
I believe so. Again, he's not provided any documentation.
Okay, and still, I know last time we had talk of the eviction. Have you ever seen any eviction notices or anything of that sort?
No, but I've also never seen a rent receipt showing paid in full.
Okay. A rent receipt showing paid in full would not be the same as an eviction notice or the lack thereof, would it?
So the department, his inability to provide a rent receipt showing that he is paid in full and on time with his rent is a significant concern that his housing is unstable and on the path for eviction.
But you're not aware that he is actually in eviction proceedings?
I'm unaware.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to talk a minute about medical appointments for the children. You mentioned that there were 11. I do have a list that you provided Mr. Hamlin on 3/6. Had that list been updated?
I sent a text message and email when there was an added well child exam for Gideon. Everything else has been off of that list.
Thank you. That clears it up for me. Thank you. Got a couple more here.
So again, as usual, I just want to break in here and remember that even though this may be a final hearing, a termination hearing, in fact, where these parents' rights are being terminated, this is the last step in a very long and difficult road. And it is one of probably the most difficult things in the world to do if CPS is against you to regain custody of your child. And I say that knowing that CPS does usually what I would hope would be their best job that they can with the resources they are given. They're overworked, underpaid, underappreciated, exposed to many things that are very difficult, and their caseloads are high. However, like I always say, here we are in this meeting spending a lot of money on termination. And it is something that these are 4 children under 4 years of age. So that means that there has been many opportunity for intervention, most likely, for this family. Yes, I did get Larry Beaver. He's right over here wearing a vampire outfit. We have to bring a little levity to some of these things. That, however, I think you need to also remember, let's say she has any sort of mental health issues herself or has any disruptive parenting, which is what it sounds like based on the reason they're taking these kids away, because the only drug they mentioned was marijuana. And so to me, it seems quite odd. But if, it's hard. It's very hard. I understand, however, I wasn't diagnosed with ADHD until I was 27, which means I had 7 years of disruptive parenting for my daughter, unfortunately, where things weren't great. And through no fault of my own, except for the natural way my brain is wired. And so, again, I think that there may be some different ways we can look at these situations to help in a more wraparound way. Not always, but possibly. I think these are very tough. These hearings are very tough. And honestly, I think I've only seen maybe one termination hearing where they didn't terminate, which was surprising. I remember the one specific hearing. Again, I wish I had caught it. It was years ago now. But yeah, that was a crazy hearing actually. But most often the reality is that the lawsuit being brought forth by the department has been well researched and they want to win. They have a lot of practice doing it. They have more practice even than the attorneys that they practice against because this is their daily day-to-day job. So, anyways, yeah, we're always watching court. That's what we do. Anyways, okay, let's continue.
Regarding the substance abuse assessment, so Mr. Hamblin has agreed to do that assessment, hasn't he?
He's agreed to do the assessment with Dr. Hogan because it does not require him agreeing to actual treatment services that CMH would require.
And has he, on many occasions, he has contacted you asking you for help with transportation to Dr. Hogan because he is in Hillsdale, is that correct?
He's asked me once.
Well, he's asked on 4/24 in the email that has been set up for him. And
Objection, Your Honor. Is counsel testifying right now? I don't know what the question is.
Well, the question is,
If you could give us a little bit more information, I'm assuming you're laying foundation for your question, but are you referencing the social work context log?
well, I am referencing the social work contact logs. According to the social work contact logs, there have been 3 requests by Mr. Hamblin for transportation.
He asked in one email for transportation to Dr. Hogan's. He asked in another email about a medical appointment, but I'm unaware of him asking for transportation specifically for Dr. Hogan other than the one email I'm referencing.
And are you able to provide transportation for him or help him with transportation for that appointment?
Yes, we would provide gas cards.
And any other type of transportation that could be offered, or just gas cards? I mean, they're good. But
at this time, it would just be gas cards.
Just want to be clear for him. So he would request those for the visit.
He would need to contact me 48 hours prior to any need for them, 48 business hours. And yes, it would be provided based 65 cents per mile.
Thank you. And with respect to domestic violence, you stated that Mr. On direct examination, you stated that both parents, but I'm talking only about mine, that Mr. Hamblin was addressing domestic violence in counseling. Is that your knowledge?
In the recommendations from Dr. Hogan from the psychological, it was suggested that domestic violence be addressed in individual counseling as well as conjoint therapy. At this time, his newest individual counseling provider can work it into his counseling, but recommends that he do an actual program for it.
Okay. And part of your exhibit is a counseling services assessment and treatment plan report from Barb Brick. Is that correct?
Yes, CPI
From who? I'm sorry.
Barb Brick, BRICK, it is Brick, like brick, right?
Yes, she's through CPIF Resource Solutions.
May I ask what exhibit number that is?
That is page 66.
Thank you.
And in that report, Barb Brick does note that what her weekly visiting counseling sessions with Mr. Hamlin would be that, and I will quote it, engaged in addiction and parenting education. Does that sound correct to you?
Yes, that is what was in the initial referral to her.
Okay, and so has she since then said that she would address domestic violence as well? It's just not in the report, is that correct?
Yes, it was in an email that was sent to all legal counsel and Mr. Hamblin that she can discuss it during sessions, but again, she recommends he do an actual program for it.
And have you provided him with referrals for those programs?
I've provided him with the information to participate in services.
And so are you referring to some of those letters, like say, for instance, the 315, the letter that you wrote on March 15th, where you list some services and give him some phone numbers?
No, I'm referring to the email that went out, I believe within a week or so of our last FTM, that specified a specific provider with their phone number, their rates, and their email address.
Okay. And has Mr. Hamlin reached out to you recently asking you for a referral for domestic violence?
I believe so. I'm working on his substance abuse assessment referral, and we'll add that to the list. I will be frank, I don't know if the department can pay for that. I don't know if that's a contract that we have. I was under the impression that that is something Mr. Hamlin would have to self-pay.
Okay, but you are looking into that for him.
Yes.
And no further questions. Thank you.
Ms. Nice.
We're almost 20 months or so into this case, and Mr. Duran has not had the custody papers filed. Would you be willing to forward whatever information you get right away if you find out that there's a barrier or that he has filed for custody?
Yes. I believe he's filing Thursday or Friday. He indicated that the filing fee is a barrier. I've given him information on applying for food stamps, which he would qualify for, and that would waive the filing fee. I also indicated that he can provide the receipt to me and I can try to reimburse them through Meyer gift cards. That was something we had spoken of at yesterday's visit.
Does he have supportive family that listens to your advice as well and can support him when you're not there?
I've met with his mom a couple of times. She was not there yesterday though.
In your report, there's an absenteeism report regarding the child that's in his care, in Javante's care.
Yes.
And on that report, every absence is reported as AM and PM. So technically it looks like there's a double reporting. Do you agree?
Yes.
So if there's 40 absenteeisms, if it's AM and PM on the same day, really we could be looking at 20 absenteeisms.
Yes.
And do you know of any enforcement action in her school that would indicate that that's a critical amount of absentees?
They've not provided me with anything, no.
these handwritten safety plans from the mother, is this something you helped her write?
No, it was something she'd come up with on her own. I provided her a list of plans that she needed to create as recommended by her psyche doc.
Have you counseled with her after these were written to tell her if these are satisfactory or not?
No, I was waiting until she'd had a couple parenting classes under her belt at her newest provider, and had planned to try to meet with her and her therapist to really go over the psych eval recommendations and how the safety plans would go into those recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Redirect?
I have none at this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any recross, Ms. Berger or Ms. Wilhelm?
I have nothing further. Thank you.
No, nothing, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you for your testimony. We return to your seat. Any other witnesses, Ms. Thomas?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Berger?
Ms. Estes, would you like to testify today?
Yeah.
All right, she has been sworn already, actually. Thank you, Deputy Hayes. So you may proceed with your questions when you're ready, Ms. Berger.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Estes, you heard Ms. Hamlin's testimony regarding your in-person visits. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And do you agree with her evaluation of those?
No.
And can you tell the court why?
Well, I believe that I was misled with a few of my visits. And also, I believe that Brené's office is making it sound a lot worse for me to rely on help with the kids. So I don't believe it's fair that my visits be suspended due to me needing help with all 4 of the kids.
Okay. And what things do you think that you were misled about?
So like the individual visits with Abby, I was first told that when we started the individual visits, my first visit was going to be with Brooklyn since she wasn't going to be in school. And the day of the visit, they tricked me into it being Abby, so the visit was canceled. The one after that was supposed to be with Brooklyn as well, and they changed it to Abby. So I think they didn't tell me that the visit with Abby was to try and form a better bond with her. They told me that the visit was going to be with Brooklyn.
Okay. And why did you think that you were doing individual visits with Brooklyn?
I knew that they were going to be with all of the kids. I just thought that Brooklyn was going to be first because she wasn't going to be in school.
Okay, so you mean like earlier in the time of the day?
No, I mean like that day. It was supposed to be on a Friday. Brooklyn usually has every other Friday off. So when they told me, they actually asked me who I wanted to do my first visit with one-on-one, and I said Brooklyn because she wasn't going to be in school. And they agreed with it. And when they switched it to Abby, it kind of upset me and made me think that I was going to miss my one-on-one with Brooklyn because she would be in school the next time.
Okay, can you slow down a little bit, Ms. Estes, please? Thank you.
So, did you at any point get any individual visits with any of your children?
I did get one with Abby.
Okay. And would you like more individual visits?
Yes.
And have you been doing virtual visits since your in-person visits got changed?
Yes.
And what do those look like?
They are very wound up and kind of all over the place, but I do believe that it benefits the kids to be able to talk to me and see me.
And do you believe that you're still quite bonded with your children?
Yes.
And would you ask the court to reinstate your in-person visits today?
Yes.
And you heard Miss Hamlin testify that you did re-engage with some services. Is that correct?
Yes.
What services have you re-engaged since moving to Jackson?
So it did take me a little bit of time to get into therapy, but I do have my first therapy appointment with Jennifer from Irwin Counseling here in Jackson on Thursday. And then I'm also doing parenting classes through Family Services and Children's Aid.
Okay. And what did those parenting classes look like?
They are an 8-week course, 2 hours a week. And I mean, it's just intense parenting classes. It's very in person too. I like it better than when I was in Adrian. So.
Okay. And you understand that at this time, the goal for your children is adoption?
Yes.
And if reunification is not an option for your children, would you ask the court to consider the goal of guardianship?
Yes.
And can you explain a little bit more why you would prefer guardianship to adoption?
Well, I would have hope that I could turn my life around in order to get my kids back eventually.
Okay. And if a guardianship were ordered, who would you prefer the guardian to be?
Christina.
And you believe that she would support the children and any potential relationship with you?
Do I believe that she would support the children's relationship with me?
Yes.
No.
Okay. And she would hold you accountable until you, like what you said, got your life together?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to update the court on today?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, questions for this witness, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Wilhelm?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Heiss?
Ms. Estes, can you hear me?
Yes.
In your safety plans that you made for yourself, I read something that you have lots of family support in Jackson. Did I read that right?
Yes.
And are those family supports, have you given the names and addresses and everything that's needed to the department about those supports?
I wasn't aware that the courts needed it.
Well, if you're going to rely on them, I wondered if we would need to check on those folks so that we could know who you're relying on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you want us to consider those as important support to you, would you be willing to provide their information to the agency?
Yes.
So you said something about maybe if you worked and you would have them to rely on for childcare, for example?
Yeah.
Okay, that concludes my questions. Thank you.
Any redirect, Ms. Berger?
Not this time, Your Honor. Thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Estes, counselors?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Any other witnesses, Ms. Berger?
None, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Wilhelm?
Yes, Your Honor. I would like to call Mr. Hamlin to the stand.
Mr. Hamlin, come on up to our witness stand.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Would you state your name for the record, please?
Go to Hamlin, father and children.
Mr. Hamlin, I would like to direct your attention to the video visitation schedules that you have received in this case. And I would like to talk first about the first one that you received, which was on March 24th. Do you recall that one?
Yes.
And without looking at it, do you recall whether or not April 18th was on that list.
April 18th was on that list.
And what happened on April 18th when you, did you confirm that visit first of all?
I did.
And then
yes.
what happened?
I confirmed to Stephanie, and then she texted back and said that there wasn't a visit that day. And I was confused because I saw it on the first one, and then she directed me to an email to a new schedule that I haven't seen yet.
And do you recall the date of the new email, the new schedule? Would that have been the same day, 4/18?
I don't recall the exact date.
It was the same day though that you confirmed, correct?
It was, I believe it was within a day or two, or if not on the same day.
Were you ever informed before that time that you were not going to be having that visit on 4/18?
No.
But you did confirm for it?
I did.
And it did not happen?
It did.
Let's talk about another day, 3/28, you had a video visit scheduled and it was your very first one.
Yes.
Did you confirm for that day?
I did confirm. Yeah, I got on the Zoom because it was supposed to be right after Caitlin's visit with the kids at Brittany Moore's. And I got on Zoom, but nobody was there. I wasn't let into any kind of meeting or anything.
Did you ask of anyone what might have happened?
When Caitlin came back from visit that day, she told me that the kids had left right after visit.
After her visit?
After her visit, yes.
And your visit would follow?
Yeah, it was supposed to follow, yes.
Did you inform Ms. Hamlin that you had attempted to attend that visit?
I did message her, yeah.
Did you receive any response from that?
No, I did not.
Let's talk about a visit that you had with your two sons. That would have been March 17th, correct?
Yes.
Why do you remember that date so well?
It's my daughter's birthday, Abby's birthday.
Okay, so was there some talk back and forth about whether or not Abby could attend that visit?
Yes.
And can you go ahead and tell the court what happened? Tell her in your own words.
So about a week before the visit was supposed to happen, I asked Stephanie about having Abby there because I knew Brooklyn wasn't going to be there because she was in school. But I asked Stephanie about Abby being there, and Stephanie said that there had been plans made or something like that for a while now, and that she would not be able to be there. And I messaged back, it's her birthday, it's only an hour, and I should be able to see her on her birthday. So I talked with my mom. My mom said that she could free up time around that, she could free up an hour of Abby's day. And then I also spoke with my aunt, and she said that she was flexible too. So when I messaged Stephanie back and told her, I just got off the phone with my mom and everything, she said that she talked to her the day before or something, and it's still just going to be the boys.
Okay, so do you, on your visitation schedules, do you have any input on what times they occur or days they occur?
No, not those.
Not on times?
No.
And not on days?
I think it might be like the general time. I think I made it to where like it was in the morning, because at that time I was working a little later in the day.
And Abby does not attend school, does she?
No, she doesn't.
So she, except for having a birthday party, could have attended.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When you do have visits with your children, do they recognize you?
Yes.
How can you tell?
They'll say dad. The only one that doesn't is Gideon, and he was really young when he was with my mom. So I know that's like a work in progress, but the three older ones, I mean, they all recognize me. They all, know I'm dad. Every time I see them on the phone, they're daddy, fighting over the phone and stuff. So
There's lots of talk in this case about you're not visiting with the children. Can you tell us why you refused to have visits with Brene Moore at Brene Moore's office?
yeah, so I refused visits at Brene Moore's office because the supervisor was going to be Janice, and a couple weeks prior, Caitlin had a visit where she got a report for her, and Caitlin swears that the report was lying, and the report made her sound abusive towards the children. And the story that Caitlin told me sounds a lot more believable than what's on the report. And at that point, I didn't want to have visits with Janice because I'd rather not see my kids than go and have a visit and have a report that says I'm abusive towards them or something like that. And I don't want somebody to lie on me. So that's why I forfeited my visit under duress. I didn't want to be. I don't trust Janice.
And how do you know? I mean, Caitlin told you that.
Yeah. Caitlin told me the story, and it just sounds way more believable than Caitlin, defying a direct order from the supervisor and then doing it again. I mean, she's been about her kids. I mean, she's always made it to visitations. I mean, she was drug tested. She was on top of everything. So I don't see why she would put herself in that position to, look like that.
And you didn't want to have reports like that.
I didn't want to have reports like that.
No.
No. And I had already gotten reports where things were kind of misled and not true or not the whole truth. I've already had reports from Brene Moore's office like that, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Now you're referring to reports that would have been from last November, is that correct?
Yeah.
What reports have you gotten from the visits that you've done in this reporting period?
I haven't gotten any visitation reports.
So there are no visitation reports available?
No.
Have you asked for visitation reports?
I've asked several times.
And have you received any responses as to would you be getting some or why you weren't getting any?
The first visitation report was on the 17th. I asked for that one, and Stephanie messaged back. It's going to take some time. She's got to write the report, and then she'll get it to me, but she never did.
So 3/17 was first visit, and you still haven't received a report.
Yeah.
Would reports be helpful to you?
I think so. Yeah.
How so?
It'll give me insight, on different people's perspectives, on how I parent, what they see. Could be helpful.
You could improve.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you still interested in having virtual visits with your children?
Definitely.
And are you receiving any reports for those?
No.
Is there any guidance offered during those that could be helpful as when you have the face-to-face visits? They're different, I know.
I think it'd be helpful as it, being able to show that there is a bond. The kids, when they first saw me, they were saying daddy and, fighting for the phone, or, they do know me. We do have that bond, because it has been said that I don't have a bond with my kids. So in that aspect, I think it would be helpful to be able to report those things. But I mean, as far as anything else, it's a 15-minute, pretty much saying I love you and hi the whole time.
Okay. And let's was there anything else you'd like the court to know about visiting?
Well, with the 317 visit, I adamantly, you know, showed and told Stephanie that I wanted to see Abby on that day, and I was very, very upset that I couldn't. And then in one of the court reports, it said that I chose to only visit with 2 of my children that day, and I just think that's ridiculous. I didn't choose to only visit with. I mean, it was in there to make you sound bad, like I picked and choose my kids. Like I didn't do that. I wanted to see Abby, but it was put in there that I only chose to visit with 2 of my kids. And
That's what was offered to you was the 2 children.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice.
I
is
didn't
that
have a
correct?
choice. Yeah.
Anything else on that?
It's just I really want to continue my virtual visits. I love getting to see the kids. No, that's it.
Well, let's then move on to your employment. Where are you employed now?
I'm currently employed at Euclid's.
And you're just in orientation now, correct?
I have to complete a training class before I can start full time. Which was supposed to be today, but I just got it.
But it will be full-time employment?
Yes, 40 hours.
And how about housing? Are you in the process of being evicted?
I am not in the process of being evicted.
What is going on?
I am behind a few months, but me and my landlord are working it out.
So do you make payments to him?
I do. Yes.
How often do you make them?
Probably like twice a week or once every 2 weeks.
And with your substance abuse assessment, you're willing to have that done with Dr. Haugen, is that correct?
Yes.
And in your memory of it, how many times have you asked for assistance with transportation?
To the assessment or just in general?
Well, assessment.
The assessment, I believe I asked twice.
Have you ever had a response until today?
As far as transportation, no.
And on the medical appointments, what is the main problem for why you don't attend more of those?
The main issue is half of them are in Ann Arbor, and I don't have a way to get to Ann Arbor. And then the other problem, I guess, are the ones here in town. I can make most of the time, but sometimes, it's interfering with something else I have going on. Whether it be an interview or counseling appointment or something like that.
Do you think those are important?
Yeah, I do.
What happened on the last medical appointment that you attended and who was that for?
The last appointment I attended was for Abby. It was her, it was a 3-year checkup. It went good. I got there, walked in, got to see Abby for the first time in months. As soon as she saw me, she was like, "Daddy," it was awesome. But got there, then Stephanie came, and we went back and took the appointment, and then I left.
Have you asked for transportation to attend appointments, the medical appointments for the children?
I did email Stephanie last week asking about transportation to Brooklyn's appointment in Ann Arbor on the 23rd. I haven't heard anything back yet.
What is your general view of Ms. Hamlin's responsiveness to you in your requests?
I think she just does enough to cover her butt.
You have requested domestic violence referral, correct?
I have not.
You have not received any.
No referrals, no.
You have requested for a long time help with parenting ed online. Has that been forthcoming?
No, it hasn't.
Have you heard anything about that?
I have not.
Mr. Hamlin, what would be your view if the court were willing to entertain a juvenile guardianship for your children in this case?
I would be for it. Just like Caitlin said, it does give you that hope that later down the road, you know, if you get your life together, then you could always come back to court. And I think that it would open up, you know, in between that time, it would open up opportunities to be able to see the children, you know, with my mom. I mean, I'm happy where they're at right now. I mean, I think they're getting, you know, the best that they can.
In a guardianship case, if guardianship were granted, you understand that your mother would have full authority to disallow visitation.
I understand that, yeah.
And what would happen if you wanted to visit the children and she said no?
It wouldn't be any different from how it is now.
Okay, so now what?
So I guess at that point, if she said no, I would just continue to. I don't know what rights I would have with her having guardianship if I had any at all, as far as like visitations and stuff. But at that point, I just, you know, focus on myself to get my things in order, and then come back to work.
Do you know what your mom's view is of when and if you would ever be able to visit your children? Your mother's own view. Do you know what it is?
She just wants me sober, working.
Are you sober?
I am sober.
How many days?
Last time I had a drink was Easter.
And if Dr. Haugen does say that you need to have substance abuse counseling specifically, are you willing to do that?
Yeah.
And how about AA?
I'm willing to do AA. I really don't find AA beneficial for me. I've done it in the past. And there's other things that I can do besides AA.
You're going to be willing to follow everything Dr. Haugen says?
Yes.
And you have no problems whatsoever with your mom, if she were guardian of your children, holding you accountable for the things that you have to do?
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
And helping provide for the children if and when necessary. Is there anything else you would like for the court to know? All right. Thank you. No further questions.
Questions, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Berger, any questions for this witness?
None, Your Honor, thank you.
Ms. Nice?
Oh, yeah. What size shoes is Abby in?
Probably like 10 or 11s now.
What size diapers is Dakota in?
Last time I knew he was in a size 7.
You said that there's AA that you can be doing, but it isn't helpful, right?
I have found that AA in the past has not been helpful to me, no.
So you know that it's available?
I do know it's available, yes.
How is it available? Where do you go? What do you do for AA?
There's a weekly meeting at LDC where I do my drug tests.
Do you do your drug tests?
Every now and then, yeah.
All right, so that's the only meeting, one meeting a week is available to you for AA?
In my immediate like walking area, yeah.
Not online? There's nothing available online?
I haven't checked online.
All right, and then there's other things that you can do, like what?
I can do like meditation or find some. There's this thing called Celebrate Recovery. It's more spiritual than AA. AA is based more on the Bible and God and everything. Celebrate Recovery is more spiritual, and I think that would be something like.
Have you been there?
I've been looking into it.
Been looking into it. How long? We've been in this case 20 months?
I just heard about it like a week and a half ago.
Okay, but you knew about AA
Yeah, I did know about AA.
and you don't go.
I don't go to AA.
Why not?
Because Easter was the first time that I had a drink this year. And I feel like I did have an alcohol problem. I committed myself. I went 4 months without having a drink. And then I had a drink on Easter, and then now I haven't drank since. So I strongly believe in being able to do this myself and not have to have a crutch or go listen to a bunch of people tell drinking stories and war stories and stuff like that. Stuff doesn't benefit me.
So what are you doing that does benefit you?
Staying busy.
You're not employed yet, right? You haven't started your training?
I did do some training last week. There was a part of the training that I wasn't able to complete last week. So I was going to finish that up today, but it's going to have to get scheduled out probably until next weekend.
What interfered with your training last week?
It was just one of the people that did the safety course wasn't there that day.
All right, so you're not doing recovery for substance use disorder, but you'll agree that that is in your case service plan, correct?
What is?
Substance use evaluation and follow the recommendations.
Yeah.
And do you recall on May 10th receiving an email from Stephanie Hamlin?
No.
Okay.
Not offhand.
If I would refresh your memory to say that it was titled, please review and provide feedback on a quarterly parent agency treatment plan. Does that help?
Did they come with that PDF of like about me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
All right. Have you responded to that yet?
I have not responded to that. I haven't been able to look through all.
So you haven't looked through that to be able to respond. How about, we had a family team meeting and we were all there and we talked about you were going to have a video visit on April 18th. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And I specifically asked you to be successful and let me know any barriers you had to making that happen, right?
I don't remember you saying that specifically, but I'm sure it did.
So when it didn't happen, you didn't let me know either, right?
I did not let you know.
And also what you're telling us today is that there was an email for you on that day or some other day that you didn't open, that you didn't look at, so you didn't know that it was missed, correct? That was changed.
I didn't know it was changed.
Because you didn't open your email, right?
Right.
What's your barrier to opening your email?
I don't stare at my phone all the time. I don't get on the computer all the time.
I'm very interested in this because I personally have a barrier to opening email as well. I don't know why. It has to do with my ADHD and my brain. I don't think it's exactly the same, but I am terrible for it sometimes. The pen is being finicky. I'm not happy with it. He's trying. I think the problem maybe some people that are younger feel with AA is that there's this sort of generation gap if they maybe don't find the right meeting or something. And so it's unfortunate because it is the plan, the free thing that you can always do to make a court sort of understand and believe a little bit more. about what you're doing because it's a well understood program. Uh yeah. Mail, oh, real mail too, absolutely. Don't always read that. Don't often read that. Just the way I am.
Time, I checked it every so often. I didn't know that there was gonna be a new video visit schedule until Stephanie messaged me and said that take notice to the email I just sent. So I went and looked at it, and sure enough, it's a new schedule.
So Abby's birthday, that visit on 3/17,
What about it?
you're saying that, for you, you wanted to have that visit, is that right?
I wanted to have that business.
Can you articulate for me why Abby should have had that visit from her perspective?
Because she gets to see her dad.
And what does dad mean to Abby?
Oh, you have to ask her.
So you said you have a
Objection,
bond
speculation.
member, right? In your parenting education, have you talked about bonds being healthy and bonds being not healthy?
I haven't got that far in my therapy yet.
What are you hoping? Okay. So we're 20 months in. What's your barrier to getting parenting ed done?
For right now, I mean, just the chaoticness of my schedule to be able to like set something. I was looking into, Stephanie did say something to me about the MSU extension, which would be online. Never really heard anything back from her about it. I did sign up for CPC classes back in late March, I think. And then I had an interview on the day I was supposed to start, and then I had another interview, and then like I just kind of got behind me. And then I started working at Taco Bell. And I just couldn't make their set schedule that they had set for me.
So what I'm hoping to have you find out in those classes is your story through the eyes of your kids. How does it matter to the kids that you're not able to have in-person visits?
Well, I remember when I was a kid and my dad not being there, it made me question a lot. It made me question, what did I do wrong? Or why doesn't he like me? Or, just a lot of insecurities came from that. And I also remember, when I did get to see my dad, I mean, it was.
I have to say at this point, I hate that this lawyer is trying to trip him up with these questions. I hate that there's so much energy and effort put into this. Put him on a sober link, put him on a fucking testing regime, and it's not really anybody's business how he gets sober if he is sober. That's my theory of that.
I don't know I mean, I never really even knew my dad that well, but whenever I saw him, it was just a feeling of like, I don't know, like acceptance or something. It's just a good feeling. And I think that's important for the kids.
Is it important enough that you should be going to AA and doing some visits and doing some parenting time, a few things like that, so you can give that to the kids?
Yeah, it is. Okay. It is.
But you're still not.
I'm looking into it.
So you're behind in your rent. How are you paying any rent?
I do odd jobs.
So if someone is trying to help you succeed in your your plan to become reunited with the kids, what help is it that you need? Is it the agency providing help? Is that what you need?
The biggest thing I need is transportation. Seems like one of my main barriers is transportation. Getting to appointments, getting to assessments and all these things that I have to do, I have to keep in mind that it's got to be in like walking distance for me. Because I don't have a brother or sister that drives or can give me rides. My mom can't give me rides.
You have brothers and sisters that drive.
They're
not willing to drive you.
My sister doesn't drive. She doesn't have a car. It's her boyfriend's car.
So if these children are in your care, how are you going to get them to their appointments in Ann Arbor?
Well, that's for right now. They're in a good spot because I don't have a transportation.
Well, 20 months in, how long is it going to take?
I wouldn't be able to transport them right now if they were in my care.
Okay, maybe mom would help you.
Maybe my mom would probably help. Yes, or my aunt.
Okay, you went to this 3-year-old checkup for Abby with her doctor, correct?
Yes.
What was the doctor's conclusions?
Healthy.
And did he order any follow-up testing?
No.
So there's no neurology test that's pending.
Well, he didn't order it.
Who ordered that?
Probably her neurologist.
Do you call those folks and look through the records and see what's going on?
I don't have the numbers for them.
What's your barrier to finding those numbers?
I guess there isn't a barrier to finding those numbers.
Now, you did get a whole bunch of, I saw a whole list of domestic violence counseling choices that you have, correct?
Yes.
So you're waiting for a referral. Why is that? Because that pays for it or something?
Right. I don't have the money to pay out of pocket for those domestic violence programs.
How are you paying for rent then?
Sacrificing things.
Objection asked and
So
answered.
you do have some places that you could go for domestic violence help. You've seen a list, right?
I've seen the list, yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have nothing further.
Can you redirect?
Med check, med check. I luckily left a pill on the ground, which I am going to pick up and take now.
Thank you.
That's
Right,
ADD
any
for you.
requests, Ms. Berger, Ms. Thomas?
No, Your Honor.
Nothing further, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. You may return to your seats. Any other witnesses, Ms. Wilhelm?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Heiss?
I have no witnesses and no closing statement, Your Honor.
Any closing comments, Ms. Thomas?
Thank you, Your Honor. One of the elements of these cases that I often cite too is that it's also incumbent and equally incumbent on the parent to comply with and benefit from their case service plan as much as it is on the agency or the department to provide reasonable efforts to address the conditions that cause the children to come into care. In this case, yes, we had a caseworker in the past, maybe did not have the best professional etiquette. Here, we still had hundreds of pages of case logs. We still had several referrals, several efforts being put forward. Since October, we've had a very competent caseworker on this case who has gone above and beyond offering reasonable efforts to help address the conditions that cause the children to come into care. What we don't have, we have over 300 pages of documentation from the caseworker. What we don't have is anything from the parents showing that they're equally invested in reunifying with their children. Because of that, we have filed the termination petition. And under MCL 712A.19B subsection 4, I believe that during the pendency of the termination hearing, we can request and the court may order that parenting time be suspended pending that termination hearing. And at this time, given the reports from the supervisors regarding the concerns of safety and the mental and emotional health of the children, we do ask that this court suspend parenting time moving forward. We also ask that the reasonable efforts in this case be shifted solely to the permanency plan for adoption as relates to the 4 younger children. Ms. Heist's questioning, I think for Mr. Hamlin in particular, really highlights the fact that the children were removed, I believe, in August, early August of 2021. So we are almost at that 2-year point. And there is no urgency for the parents to have stabilization throughout this case. Basic needs, housing, transportation, income have all been issues the entire time. We've had inconsistent participation. We've had lack of acknowledgement of what behaviors and conditions the parents bring to the table that are causing their children to be in this situation. And it is not fair to the children to continue to wait for their parents to get it together. There's been some talk if the court doesn't terminate, do you support juvenile guardianship? I mean, as this court has recently been noting in cases that juvenile guardianship is appropriate when the relationship of the parent-child is beneficial to the child. We don't have that here. We have zero relationship. Mr. Hamlin cites duress for not participating in parenting time, but we have no testimony someone held a gun to his head saying, if you come, we're going to write bad reports about you. That is duress. Duress is not an objective report on behaviors. That's simply an objective report. There have been numerous offerings to have conversations with Ms. Moore's office about expectations, about concerns, and whether those have been taken advantage of or not. That is not on the department. Again, that goes back to the parent. And so we request that the goal remain adoption for those 4 younger children, that this court suspend the parenting time pending the termination hearing, and that the reasonable efforts towards reunification are no longer required at this time. Thank you.
Comments, Ms. Berger?
None, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Wilhelm?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, it is our position that reasonable efforts have never been provided to Mr. Hamlin. As Ms. Thomas pointed out, for the first 9 months until, over a year, 13 months, in this case, we had a worker who exhibited active bias against Mr. Hamlin and against his case. And that went on for some time, and the court will recall that that review after review after review, we asked the court to change the worker, and finally we got a worker change. Now, since that time, there's still a question here. Reasonable efforts are more than handing people a list with some phone numbers on it and saying, call these. Reasonable efforts, you can't wait for parents to ask. The burden is not solely on the parents to try to ask and to know what they need. They probably, there's things they don't want, but they need. So if we wait for them to ask, they're never going, that rule would never help families be reunified or never help parents learn how to be better parents, that kind of a rule. And that's not the rule. The rule is that the efforts, they have to be active, that and especially when it's crucial services. So in this case, one thing I will point out is that Mr. Hamlin, that this case came about in the petitions, domestic violence is one of the primary reasons for why we are in this case today. And Mr. Hamlin's never, ever received a referral, not from his previous worker, not from this worker, for domestic violence help with that. And again, it's simply not a list, and here's a list, go follow up on it. Now, Ms. Hamlin, and to her credit, did provide a list, and an excellent list. And Mr. Hamlin did call all of those places. What he found was some of the places on that list, and this is in the record, it's in the social contact logs. Mr. Hamlin found that they were no longer doing those services. Now, as recently as I believe 5/1, not 5/9, Mr. Hamlin again asked for some referrals for domestic violence. This has been a case that's gone on for almost 2 years, and never once has he been referred for domestic violence counseling. And Ms. Hamlin did say that they were addressing that in his counseling with Barb Brick, but then he established that, well, no, he's not. So that wasn't working either. And that's a crucial problem, and been a crucial problem in the case. And it's the problem that Ms. Hamlin says is the one that she's most worried about, because she's most worried that this recent separation won't last. Domestic violence is the crux of the case, yet there's not been any reasonable referrals of any kind for that. Also, there's a lack of responsiveness. He does need transportation. He does write. You'll see in the social contact laws, he asks for transportation lots because he needs it. He can't go to Ann Arbor. He's got no car. Okay, yes, this is his fault, but it is also part of reasonable efforts when transportation is an issue to help with that. So he should at least get a response about as to whether or not he's going to have help. Now, he did get a response today. He will have to give 48 hours notice, and he might get some gas cards to go visit Dr. Hellman. Great. We shouldn't have to come to court to get that. He should get that after he writes. And in this case, I also want to point out a lot has been said about April 18th and that visit. I would point out for the court, easy to see, that the email that we're talking about here on 418, the one that changed the visitation so that there wouldn't be one on 418. I mean, it changed it. It was on 418 that email went out. And actually that email went out at 1:05. Mr. Hamlin has to confirm by noon. So when Mr. Hamlin wrote to confirm, it was only noon. And no, the email had not come out. So it wasn't a matter of he couldn't open the email. He opened it when it came out and he saw that. And furthermore, on that point, it's not his responsibility to notify everyone in the case that his visitation has been changed. That email went to everyone. Everyone knew that. But if you look in the social contact logs, you'll see that on April 20th, there was confusion by Ms. Heiss. Looks like she didn't realize it either, that visitation had been just canceled. No one was ever advised that it had just been canceled. It was on the earlier list of 324. It disappeared from the later list that came out 418. That's not his fault. And he did confirm for that. So there are visits that he could have had that he confirmed for, but didn't get. We are objecting to a finding of reasonable efforts in this case. To date, there haven't been reasonable efforts in this case for Mr. Hamlin. And we would ask the court to find that reasonable efforts have not been made. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court finds that all interested parties were given notice for purposes of today's review and permanency planning hearing. Ms. Heiss is certainly in satisfaction of her obligations as guardian ad litem. Thank you for your efforts. I do find that the testimony of our caseworker, as well as the documentation that was submitted to the court, does constitute reasonable efforts in this file. It reflects monitoring of the children and their services. We had just in the last review period 11 different appointments. These children are all being screened for different potential services, as well as monitored for existing conditions. And of course, all of the moving pieces of typical childhood, including dental appointments and doctor's appointments, and it's a very busy household. And it's certainly kept Ms. Stephanie Hamlin busy monitoring all of that. She's also made efforts to reach out to both parents to monitor their services, to figure out where they're living. The perfect example of that is when she described sitting with her supervisor and for the second time, trying to assist Mr. Hamlin in securing services through CMH, only to have him refuse those services because he refuses to agree to a treatment plan. Despite that, she soldiered on and forwarded him a bunch of information about other services and was willing to coordinate with him and reach out to Dr. Haugen on that. That all actually constitutes active efforts rather than reasonable efforts. Reasonable efforts are simply connecting a parent with services because, as Ms. Thomas pointed out, a parent has the obligation to take advantage of those services during the period of time available to them under the jurisdiction and supervision of the court. So that's just one of the many examples we heard about today, but it's a poignant example in this file. We also had continued examples of barriers that continue to exist for both parents, including evidence of alcohol intake as well as domestic violence incidents. We still don't have stable employment or housing for any significant period of time. We have, in fact, neither parent really effectively employed. We've had and lost jobs again for both of them in the last review period. Ms. Estes appears to have stabilized for the moment with her father, and I wish her the best of luck moving forward on that. I read your letter and your father's letter, and I'm glad you're in a good place at the moment, and I hope that that continues forward. Hopefully, Mr. Hamblin will be able to find a job to avoid eviction and continue to work on taking advantage of those services. But I do not find that the department should have further obligation to provide reasonable efforts on those points. They have all the information that they could possibly want on those points. And so if either parent wants to take advantage of services in the next report period, feel free. And of course, report that back to Ms. Hamlin so that she can report that to me. But I will not require her to actively reach out and to continue those diligent efforts in connecting a parent with services. Those have been frustrating efforts, to put it mildly, especially around visitation and connecting the experience with services, only to have them disengage, move, not show up. And we can talk about individual incidences and have excuses on those and here and there, but the point is we needed both parents to be stable by this point and actively having benefited from services, not tripping over things in order to get into services in the first place still. So all of the barriers continue to exist and present a significant risk of harm associated with returning these children to the care of either parent at this time. I also find that it's appropriate to suspend visitation pending the resolution of the hearing on the petition to request termination of parental rights for all of the reasons that I've visited today, as well as many of the reasons that I've visited in our last hearing. Those issues continue to be present in a very big way. And of course, we have the support of Ms. Brene Moore also indicating that there's a risk of mental harm and emotional harm to the children if they continue to have to attempt to be present for visits. We had behaviors documented around visits, as well as the lack of bond and the stress that it causes the children to be scheduled for visits that don't happen. So with her support, the support of our LGAL, the visits will be suspended pending the termination trial, which is scheduled to be heard with our next review hearing, as previously announced, on July 17th, 2023 at 1:30 p.m. We've reserved the afternoon for that. Children will remain in their placements, respective placements. Those are the safest and least restrictive places for each of them to be at this time, pending further resolution. And unless there's any questions, that will be all for today. We'll see you back July 17th at 1:30.
Your Honor, there's a specific concern, visits suspended. Does that include medical appointments and that kind of time, access to the children?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you all for your time and efforts. Oh, sorry, Ms. Berger, did you have a question?
Yes, will that include the virtual visits that are currently happening, or will that just include the in-person visits that were previously suspended?
That includes all visits, including virtual and contact with the children, pending the outcome of the.
Okay, that was sad, unfortunately, wasn't it? But I appreciate y'all being here with me for that. We're gonna zip into a story time here quickly before we look at something else court related. Um, sorry, I'm looking at my computer. So, the graduation story. I have ADHD, which means I don't do great in conventional learning all the time, unfortunately. And I had that issue in high school. I attended all the time in good faith, but I never did any homework. Ever. Ever. So if I could finish it in like class time, then I could probably get something done. But if there was going to be like an uh, effort required over time that required like people, you know, like me to be executive planning basically over time, I had a really hard time with it. I'm just adding a few pictures here. So when I was supposed to graduate, I had a feeling that I was short credits, and I did take like I basically I had a semester system at the school. So when I went to school, the school did semesters, which means like you can basically every half a year you take 4 classes and you do them every single day, and then the next part of the next semester is 4 totally new classes and you do them every single day. And so the bad part about that is that if you know, you have to do the same classes every day, so there's not as much variety. But the good news is if, for example, you're like me, where you fail a lot of classes, for whatever reason, you have some space in what would normally be your electives to take the classes again. And so I did math very often. I would do math usually twice a year with like math 8 I did twice, math 9 I did twice, math 10 I think I did 3 times. But of course, remember, I'm working at the bank at this point in time, balancing cash, selling money, like doing things that seemed to me like real math. And I was doing just fine at those. But anyways, so I was not you need like I think it's 82 or 80 credits to graduate, and I had like 78 credits. I was short 2 credits. You get 4 credits for every class that you do. And I was like, oh fuck, but I'll just sign up for summer school, walk across the stage, everything will be fine. It'll be great. And the teacher, my guidance counselor, I guess you'd call her, bitch is what I'll call her. She basically was just decided to fucking talk to my parents about it and ratted on me basically. And I'll tell you something, I was in a world of hurt after that, in the sense of like nobody was happy anymore. There was no like, wow, you did so good. You almost graduated. Like for somebody with ADHD, it was very, very devastating because it's like, yeah, I already know that I suck at all this stuff, but yet thanks for reminding me. Appreciate that. Anyway, so my whole plan, like I'd already bought the dress. I was planning on going to this grad and doing it, and I wanted them to come and enjoy it. But instead, everybody was mad. And so that was unfortunate. Um, Here I am at my grad with my best friend. And firstly, the most important part of this outfit was my shoes. You can see how important I wanted them to be. I was like, look at my feet. And so this is me on the grad night. I still went. Absolutely. Fucking yes, I did. Yes, I absolutely did. And so we went to that night, and this dress I bought on a trip to the United States, where I um, went to BCBG, Max's area, I think it's called, and bought that dress. This is sort of this is the ceremony outside. There's my shoes again, making another appearance. So I was not going to miss this. I went to school. I earned this day. Let me tell you, I don't care if I was in 2 credits away or not. I earned this day. Now, nobody in my family was happy with me that day, so it was sort of shitty, to be honest. But I was doing it anyways. And so my whole plan was not to tell anybody, to have everybody have a happy day, and then just continue on. I did not get to do that. Everybody was mad. Here's the secret, though. Okay. I think it's listening. Can you hear me? Whisper like this. Give me some like yeses in the chat if you can hear me when I whisper like this. I need some yeses in the chat. If you can, yes, okay, ASMR KCC. Okay, here's what I think happened. I think my family got a little bit full of themselves when I hadn't graduated because there was these pretty elaborate gifts offered when I didn't graduate. Like, oh, well, if you had graduated, you would have got this. And, but, since you didn't, you don't. And I was like, no problem, but let's just write those down because I'm planning on graduating and I really don't think it's important when, so, but okay. And so I think they maybe got a little bit cocky. They thought, she's never going to finish this. She's never, right? Wow. Funny. Let's go, heart, sorry, next picture. So that was my boyfriend in high school. We were no longer boyfriend and girlfriend at this point. We had broken up, but that was my boyfriend in high school for most of it. Anyways, so I went to this party this day. Let me find another. Where is it? Oh, this was my grad date, me and Joey. It looks a lot older, that picture does. Anyways, so um I still went to grad. I still had a good time. I still was fine. And again, remember, I was already working at the bank full time. I was already literally the head teller at a branch. Some of these dumbass teachers that failed me in math were coming into the bank being my customers. And I'm like looking at their bank accounts like, oh, interesting. And they're like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, oh, yeah, they don't seem to be bothered when I want to use a calculator, Mr. So-and-so. They like it when we use calculators here, dude. I will check in 1 second, Mayor. So there's one more picture. Where was it? Is this it? Oh, back with this one. Okay, whatever. So, anyways, here's the thing. I signed up for the class. I signed up for a tourism class. I thought, this will be great. And I really was gung ho because of all the gifts that they said they were going to have gotten me, which I was like, I never knew I was going to get any of those gifts at all. So it's like a little weird to me. Anyways, so I, anyways, so I signed up for the tourism class. I did it for a little while, but as usual, I got wrapped up in real life. And I was working and I was 18 and life went on and I sort of stopped doing the And I just sort of, you know, went on with life and didn't think about it much. Well, then, oh, there we go. The next time I remember randomly in the mail, this like big envelope arrived and I was a little weirded out. I was like, what is this? I didn't order anything. Like it was only like 6 months after the graduation. Anyways, I open it up and it's my diploma. And I'm like, what in the is this? Like, I didn't even order a fake one. Like, what is this? And turns out I did enough work in the class that I got an automatic 2 credits that were reported to the system that automatically bumped me over the credits to graduate. And automatically they sent out that diploma. Oh my God, I pranced into the house. Look at this. Oh, I was so happy. Oh, oh, I danced. Oh, I danced, I danced, I danced. I was like, where was that check you were writing me when I was graduating? Can I have that money, please, now that I've graduated? Ugh. They did not. Okay, here's the thing. Nobody offered me a car. It wasn't even that big of a deal. And I didn't even want anything. It was only that they had done this whole like, well, you would have, but that really. Hannah's talking to somebody. Anyways, it is good I checked the mail that day. I am officially a graduate. Let's just be real about that. And the other thing I'd like to point out I remember her name, by the way. May she rest in peace. I know that she did die. I apologize, Miss Moore. I'm sorry. But I did not like that you called my mom. So I'm just mad about it, to be honest. But it would have worked out, is what I'm saying. Anyways. Okay, so let's just get rid of this picture. Let me find something else court related here to show you. Oh, that's right. That is the way I see it is here in the chat as well. Where is Tommy from? Somebody knows where Tommy's from. He was here earlier. Tommy from MI, is it? Oh my gosh. Tommy has started a YouTube channel. We all need to sub to him as well. We also need to sub to That Is the Way I See It and check it out. I have a video that he has sent me that we can share tonight. Just give me one moment while I get it. I've also been promised a beaver, which I'm quite excited about. If we give myself a moment to just move things around here. Do 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 do. Tommy V and MI, that's the name, Jonathan. Show me the beaver. Let me see your other beaver had to download, and if you sent me a fucking virus, dude, via a beaver, oh, I'm kidding. I did download it. Now where'd it go? Where did it go? Is it Video Beaver? Am I gonna get in trouble with YouTube Daddy for showing this on the stream? Oh yeah, I love it already. Hold on. I'm fucking muted. I'm fucking muted. I said, you should put a T2. And then I thought, oh my God, you forgot tit. Tit at the beginning of your name. You're leaving that out? It's got to be tit wissy. Tit wissy. Tit wissy. Yeah. But first I was saying you should go T squared because that's like the two T's, but you got tit right with you. You can make tit in every YouTube thumbnail and it's not even clickbait. That's thinking. That is thinking. Seriously, you're losing us on that. You should have. Here we go. So this is the swear to process and arraignment for beginners. I want to see this. Thank you so much. That is the way I see it. Tit wissy. I love that. Tit wissy. Let us watch this and enjoy, guys. And please, make sure you go and sub to him. Know the rules. We support each other. That's the way we do it. Okay, Nana is literally on the phone. She just said, if a cat pees, you've got to get rid of it. She's trying to get rid of this cat. She's been trying to get rid of this cat ever.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the swear to calling case number 2300946. This is the state of Michigan versus Jamar Williams. We're going to handle two matters on this case. The first is the swear to, the second is the arraignment. They'll be held consecutively right after each other. Detective, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give in support of the felony complaint is true?
I do, Your Honor.
Okay, the court has before it a felony complaint wherein is alleged on May 12, 2023 in the city of Berkeley that the defendant, Mr. Williams, did contrary to law. Count one, fled a police officer, a third degree. That's being the operator of a motor vehicle to whom was given a visual or audible signal by hand, voice, emergency light, or siren by Officer Beaucamp, a police officer who was in uniform, and identifying marks on his vehicle, acting in his lawful performance of his duty, directed defendant to bring the motor vehicle to a stop. He failed to stop and obey the direction, and increasing his motor vehicle and or attempting to flee. 1 second, please. Can you put Ms. Johnson in the main room? She's in room 1. Can you put her in the the main room, the Zoom? Oh, okay. Count 2, did possess or reproduce altered, counterfeited, forged, or duplicated operators. I'm sorry, the first count 1 is a felony for 5 years or $5,000. It also has Secretary of State penalties. Count 2, it is alleged he possessed a reproduced, altered, counterfeit, forged, or duplicate operators or chauffeur's license. Contrary to MCL 257.310, this is a misdemeanor, 1 year, $2,000, commonly known as driver's license forged or possession. I believe that's the 2 counts. Am I correct, Detective?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the complaint contains the signature of the assistant prosecuting attorney. It contains the signature of the complaining witness. Detective, are you the complaining witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that your signature?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in support of the felony complaint is true?
I do, Your Honor.
Please proceed with your testimony.
This is a reference, or first of all, Detective Gottlieb, Berkeley Department of Public Safety. This is in reference to our case number 23-04778. On May 12th, 2023 at 22:35 hours, Jamir J. Williams, born February 24th, 2004, or 2004, did flee and elude officers from the area of westbound Cambridge and Robina in the city of Berkeley. After Officer Beauchamp activated his emergency lights and sirens signaling the driver to stop, Williams continued westbound on Cambridge in speeds in excess of 60 miles per hour, and he posted 24 or 25 mile per hour zone and disobeying 4 stop signs as he was doing so. Williams's vehicle bottomed out after going airborne across Greenfield, causing damage to the underside of his car. Williams Chrysler 300 traveled approximately 3/4 of a mile through Berkeley, and units terminated the pursuit once the vehicle crossed Greenfield. Officers found a fluid trail where Williams' vehicle struck the pavement on Cambridge, west of Greenfield and Southfield. They were able to follow the trail another half mile where Williams Chrysler 300 impacted the pavement and found the vehicle and Williams in the parking lot of 16099 West 11 Mile Road in the city of Southfield. The Chrysler 300 was registered to Williams and the key fob for the vehicle was found in his pocket. During an inventory search of his stuff or his property at the station, we did discover the fake ID in his possession.
Okay, the court finds, based upon the testimony and my review of the complaint and the police report contained in the file, that there's probable cause established for the issuance of the complaint and the warrant, and that the charges are not capricious, and therefore the complaint and warrant will be signed by the court. Detective, would you like to stay on to speak on bond? Do you want to comment now, or do you want to wait for the arraignment?
I can comment now, Your Honor. He's young. He does have his uncle who's attending the Zoom meeting, and his mother's also called the station. So I think he has some support to help him get through this.
It seems like he has very concerned family members, doesn't it?
He does, and he doesn't have anything previous on his driving record that I saw.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may leave the Zoom. I appreciate your time coming forward today to support the courts.
Thank you.
Take care, sir. Okay, Ms. Johnson, I'm going to give you time to go into a breakout room with your client, please.
Titwissy, titwissy,
Thank you.
titwissy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
Mr. Williams, are you his uncle or his father?
I am his uncle.
Oh, okay.
Can I go in that breakout room with him, please?
No, I think it's privileged. I will, let me send her a chat, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Do you want to speak with the attorney, or did you want to speak with your nephew?
I would like both. If I can only speak to one, definitely his attorney.
Okay, it's still on the case 2300946. This is the date and time set for the arraignment for Mr. Williams. We've heard from the detective on bond, but now we'll proceed with the arraignment. Counsel, how would you like to proceed this afternoon?
Thank you, Magistrate Benke. I talked to my client. If I can just have a brief breakout room with Mr. Artez Williams, I won't be long.
Okay, that's the uncle.
Correct.
Okay, it literally has to be 3 minutes because court closes in 3 minutes, and I want to process this paperwork, please.
Yes, that's why I didn't want to take a long time with both. If I can just be very quick with Mr. Artez Williams.
For sure, I will accommodate him because I think he's very concerned, and I'd like to see.
Oh, you know she's fresh when she thinks she's going to get something, anything accomplished 3 minutes to close. That's cute. Aw, sweetie.
See family involved.
Thank you. We're ready, Magistrate Benke.
Okay, so when I gave you a brief minute to confirm the breakout room.
I'm sorry. Did she just say Binky? Miss Binky? Magistrate Binky? Wow.
With a family member, now we're back. The arraignment is being conducted. You were present for the swear truth, and how would you like to proceed?
We are asking, we do acknowledge receipt of the charges, waive formal reading, stay my client mute. My client does understand that this is a felony matter. He does have a right to an exam within 21 days. He'll get 2 dates of probable cause conference as well as that exam. He does want the court to make sure an attorney is appointed to represent him going forward. And with regard to bond, is the court ready for me to proceed regarding that as well?
Well, a few things. You're going to stand mute, a plea of not guilty, right? Shall enter. Court
Yes.
appointed counsel is requested and granted. That will be appointed. And okay, so let's get that then. Does he live on Kenwood Street?
He does.
Okay.
With
so
his
we
paternal
confirm the
grandmother.
address. So the address is confirmed. That's where the written notice to appear for the PCC that will be set no sooner than 7 days, no later than 14 days. The preliminary exam will also be set. I don't have those dates available. They're set by my clerks and they're mailed with notices to appear. Court appointed counsel request is granted. Now, what have you say on bond and bond conditions?
We are hoping the court will consider a personal bond. My client is 19 years of age. He's a graduate of Redford Union High School. He is slated to go to Texas Southern University to study electrical engineering. He's hoping to be able to enroll in the fall. He took a gap year after graduating from high school. He's been employed at and working at Chrysler on the line right now. But again, is in hopes of starting school, studying electrical engineering. So we'll have the other side of engineering under his belt once he gets into school. He's got strong family support. He lives with his grandmother, Adrienne Williams. He provided me with an address, a good phone number, and an email address. I'll put those in the chat. He understands that these allegations are very, very serious. He's remorseful being in front of you. Like I said, he has no prior criminal history at all. So we're hoping the court will consider a personal bond. If the court believes tether is appropriate, he would have no objection to that.
I do not believe that a tether is warranted at this point because I'm looking at a pretrial service. They gave some comments. They recommended that he should be released and that pretrial supervision is not recommended. So I'm going to follow that. I like that there's family members involved and I appreciate the lack of criminal history. So hopefully this is a one and done and not a frequent flyer. So the court is setting a $5,000 personal bond. This matter will be set for a probable cause conference no sooner than 7 days, no later than 14. The notice to appear will be sent to the Oak Park address. Is that grandma's address?
That is grandma's address.
That is grandma's address.
Yes, that's where he lives.
Oh, okay. And I just want to look at your chat for your information. Sir, I'm setting a personal bond, which means you don't have to post any money. Okay, 248-315, and then to be released today. But if you don't take this seriously, and you fail to appear in the future, that will not be the case. Can I count on you to give me your word that you're going to appear for your next hearing?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I appreciate the manner in which you conducted yourself in this hearing. It makes a very big impression on me. I'm confident that this will just be a little blip in your life and that you'll handle this matter responsibly, cooperate with your counsel, always keep the court informed of your whereabouts. Don't leave for school without telling us. I'm so sorry. I didn't start my video and I've been talking to you and looking at you the whole time. Don't leave the court with the state without telling us. Don't leave for college until this matter is concluded. Cooperate with your attorney. Let us know if any of your contact information changes. And don't pick up any new charges while you're out. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Take care. Ms. Johnson, is there anything else further required of the court or requested of the court at this time?
Not at this time, thank you.
It was a pleasure working with you today, and I cannot believe the amount of work that we threw at you this afternoon, and you've handled them also competently and calmly. I hope it takes some of you into me. Thank you so much for assisting the court.
Absolutely.
Sir, you take care, be well. I'm gonna end your video because our hearing's over.
Please check out That Is the Way I See It. You guys know that he hangs out here all the time. That was a great video. She was definitely green, and I'll tell you why. For a few reasons. Part of me like really adores when the judges are nice to the staff and nice to the attorneys. I think that that's really important. Yeah, if somebody could drop a link, please, in the chat to That Is the Way I See It. I watch Asher House all the time, these hands. I watch it literally daily. Um, really. That is the way I see it. Me and YouTube, I don't know. I'm still learning all of these things. I wanted to show you guys something though. When we were talking about piercings, I got my belly button pierced when I was 18 years old. And I got pregnant when I was 19 years old. And I would like to please. This is me at 19 years old, first of all, pregnant. What hair, my God. Also, I had 9 weeks of pregnancy left after this. If you can believe that, 9 weeks more to go. I think it looked a lot more intense from the front than the side. But if you notice, my belly button there looks a little bit weird. And I took the belly button ring out as soon as I got pregnant, but it never ever closed up and it's still there. No, they did not pop. You don't pop if you have a piercing, which is funny. Here's a sideways view, which wasn't as big, obviously. I was from the front pregnant, like you could not tell. That was like all where I was. Anyway, so I had like, yeah, 8 weeks or 9 weeks left of pregnancy at this point in time. And I remember somebody commented on this picture. They were like, why do you have 3 belly buttons? And I was like, I don't. I have a belly button piercing and a belly button. It does look exactly like all from the front. It certainly does. But yeah, that's what happens. They never really go away. The tongue one did. My tongue piercing definitely closed over very fast. But like to this day, right now, my belly button ring, I haven't had a ring in like a month or something. I took it out. But if I leave it out for years, it still lets me like put it in. So, um, I do look pretty happy. Um, I was pretty happy. And oh, here's one more of that little photo shoot. My ex-husband still has that mirror. Um, anyways, oh, you know what's interesting? This apartment that we lived in right here, you can see most of it in this picture, as a matter of fact. But we lived in this apartment and it was a ground floor apartment, and even weirder, it was like virtually the window in the living room was like level with the ground outside. So somebody like could walk and their feet would be above you because you'd be looking at it like above. So it was partially below the ground, I guess, in an apartment building, big apartment building. And we didn't we don't have air conditioning here in this part of Canada because it does not get very hot. And so I remember we had the window open or something, and a raccoon came and almost came in the window, and we had to chase it away. It was really funny. It does match my outfit there. It's funny. Um, the raccoon came to that window and we had to chase it away. Luckily, I had both a hockey stick and a golf stick ready. And oh my God, those were cute. I had, so I like sort of scared it away, but raccoons are a little scary. Definitely a little scary. Um, when she was first born, oh, I love this picture too. I get to show this one off. This is like best drugs ever I took because it was like birth, like the birth itself and like all the endorphins after that. And oh yeah, this one too. All these pictures were taken in the house I'm in right now as well. I brought her home to this house. Oh, I don't have Discord on this computer right now, Mayor. I have to do it in 1 second on my phone, but I'll do it in Laugh, I'm sure. Um, this one, same sort of spot, reading her book. Mayor. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. And let's see here. We were very young when we had her. We looked very young anyways, I think. Um, show you. Both very young. Young, young, young. But she was born right, oh my God, this is such a cute picture. She was born right before Christmas. Well, not right before, about 15 days before Christmas. And it was a lovely little Christmas we had. This is the upstairs suite of our house. So there's a tenant that lives there now, but I used to live there upstairs. Oh yeah, we were happy at the time for sure. No tattoos. Um, she's so cute, little baby. Um, and yeah, I mean, she was a great little kid. Like she still is a great kid. Like I've been so lucky because of that, to be honest with you. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna share these pictures with you guys too. She was funny, and I got to remember when you are a Canadian, you get a year of maternity leave to spend with your baby, to hang out at home, to take care of them, and oh yeah, I love this one too. She had the funniest faces, just the funniest little faces in the world. And again, I was very lucky to be able to stay home with her and enjoy that time and really focus on learning how to be a mom, even though I was young. And she grew so fast, absolutely so fast. Let's see here. Oh, this is our 5 generations that we had that lived in the house at the same time. So that's me and my sister, and then my daughter, and then my mom, my nana, and then now in the middle is my nana now. I do make that face that she makes, right? So that was 5 generations that we all had living in the same house. And like that is why I partly was able to do all the things that I've done is because the type of family support that I have in the house. And so Nana Nell passed away when Peyton was about like 3, I think. So she got to spend quite a bit of time with her. And oh yeah, I love this picture too. If anybody here is Scottish, you will know this logo. So that's from a Celtic football club. Uh, yes, the Glasgow Celtic. So my dad is a big Celtic supporter from Scotland, came over from Scotland. And so we have pictures of us wearing jerseys and um lots. My dad and my sisters and I. Oops. That's his 4 daughters. So just give me one sec. I'm going to find one last picture for you guys before we finish the slideshow imagery of my life. Oh, actually, no, because these ones are real good. What was that one I was looking for, though? I was looking for a special picture, but I can't remember which. Oh, remember how I said I used to have the coolest office around? That is. This was my office when I worked at the cruise ships. It's a double-decker bus that's been converted into an office, and it's parked like you can see the ship right behind it there. So that was my office, which I loved on the top. Hey Kane, how are you? We're just going through some pictures of my life for no reason other than I got into it, and now forgive us if we ever manage to stop. Um, I'm just looking for that one special picture. I will think of it when I see it and say, that's the one you're talking about. Mm. Oh, this one. When my daughter was little, for some reason, we called her the panda. We just thought she was a panda. And we even got her a custom sweater made that said the panda on it. Oh, she has gorgeous eyes. My God. My God. Um, is that me by the tree on the bus? No, I don't think so, was it? But no, that's not me. I thought you meant literally. No, that's not me. That's a mural. Somebody did a mural. But okay. Dang it. What was the last picture? Oh, see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And then I made an honest girl out of her when I dressed her like this. Little panda. Love it. Yeah, she is a good chick. And oh yeah, her eyes, I know. She has some of the most gorgeous eyes, but also this picture will tell you when kids eat, and you can see it in this picture too, that currently is up there. When kids eat a lot of carrots, their their faces, their noses turn orange because of the beta carotene in it. Seriously, look at her nose. It's like orange. And it's because she was eating like sweet potatoes and yams and squash and like carrots, only like orange foods. She's not sick. And it's not like leftover, it's like through the skin. And her blue eyes really bring out the orange in her nose. Yes. She was a very good kid. And I took her for one. Oh, this one. Could have been a model, this kid, I swear. Oh, Kane, you're so amazing, my friend. Thank you so much. You are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it was coming. Thank you so much. That's incredible. I appreciate that. Um, you guys are great. I love hanging out with you. Oh, yeah. Um, it is some of the most fun I have, to be honest with you, is hanging with you guys and really learning and enjoying things. Oh my gosh. Um, this picture right here, I feel like embodies me. I really wish I could pull off jeans like that. Like, look at that look. Look at that kid. She looks great. Look at that. Dang. This is hard to believe that that was like 14 years ago. And my child is almost 15 now. I can't show you pictures of her now because that would be like doxing her and all this stuff. Time flies, my friends. Times absolutely fly. Oh, I love it here. I'm a night owl. I love hanging out with you guys. I do. I do. I do. I do. Well, you know I do. What I need is another computer so that I can actually like just hang out and watch court as well as actually get some stuff done at the same time too. Right now my computer is like tied up. Wow. Oh, damn, this kid is so fucking cute. Seriously, my God. I mean, I'm partial, but she is seriously so dang cute. Oh, but this is a great photo right here. I'm gonna say that this is a look my ex-husband gave her. Because I can't think that be me. My daughter now wears size like way bigger than me shoes. Um, we don't have any more court cases tonight, Jacqueline. I am actually going to call it a night shortly. I have to get on to making some more court cases for us to watch, as well as viewing a few other things, and including checking in on my daughter. But I will be back tomorrow with, oh, look at that. Goat and all. With lots more to show you guys tomorrow. But no, for today, there will not be any more court because I haven't got it prepared. I'm sorry. Anyways, listen, guys, I do really appreciate you all. We're gonna have to incorporate this picture somehow when people do stupid stuff in court. I really think that it's good. It's good. I still have the bookcase that's in the back of that photo. So weird how things I remember. But yeah. Oh, oh, what power still works? What power still works? What power still works right now? What happened? I hit the button. I don't know what it saw, but that was a little crazy. I appreciate you all. That's like my quick exit, apparently, a quick exit button. Um, seriously, guys, I appreciate you all so much. You make it worth it, and I will be here for a long time. We'll be here together. Our family will grow. I know I'm going to less. We will be doing that too, but I I do have to go check in with my daughter tonight, but we'll have some Judge Kim nights coming up. Even if it's repeat Judge Kim, we're just going to watch it again and again because it is that good. Okay, guys, I love you so much. Remember that you are special just for being you, and I like you just the way you are. So, I'm proud of you. I love you. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great night, guys. Bye.